City if they want to take it. The defending champions are starting to turn up the heat on a cold night in Brighton. And we Foden to take here, left-footed. We draw a straight line to the corner of the 18-yard box here. Perfect crossing angle for Foden, whipped in low. Haaland at the far post, and he just hacks at it. Good work there from Nunez though, as it spins all the way over to the touchline here to keep it in play. Saves the embarrassment for Haaland there of that eventually going out for a throw-in, but Brighton will win the turnover. Here's Bbrighton, forced back into his own penalty area though by Mateo Kovacic. Calmness under pressure there from Bbrighton to find Jack Hinchelwood. They won't be rushed, Brighton. It's a lovely take there from Danny Welbeck. He just brushes off the challenge of Lewis on halfway. Needed Josko Gvardiol to step in there. Step in he does. Croatian international crunching in on Danny Welbeck. No lasting damage done there to the veteran striker. Back up on his feet. Manchester City, I should expect, back in possession. It's cheaply given away this time though. Bbrighton tried to be too clever there with Phil Foden closing him down, and he's pulled Foden to the floor on halfway. And a more obvious Premier League yellow card you are unlikely to see this season. Tried to be too cute and just put that through the legs of Phil Foden. Foden gets away from him, and there was a rugby tackle as Foden tried to get over the halfway line, and Bbrighton is the first name taken in Sam Barrett's notebook this evening. 20 minutes gone here. Still Brighton 0, Manchester City 0. Another reminder that if you are staying with us this evening on Flash Score, we do have live audio commentary from Anfield. The current Premier League leaders Liverpool hosting Aston Villa. A draw for Man City here tonight would still keep them a point behind Liverpool, with that clash later on this evening being a game in hand for Arne Slot's in-form Reds. Arsenal take on Chelsea tomorrow. It's a real cracker, 4th against 5th. It'll be a 4:30 PM UK kickoff time. Yet to really see this game burst into life. Brighton, based on the early statistics, no touches inside the Manchester City penalty area. City have had 5 in Brighton's box. That saved effort from Sabinho, the closest we've come to a goal-scoring opportunity though. Here's Phil Foden, just tiptoes over the halfway line down the Manchester City right. He's got Gundogan for company, but Estepinian will harry and hassle him back towards his own goal. As Man City start to dominate here, they're pushing more and more players forward. Simpson, Percy and Gvardiol, the majority of the time the only 2 players left back in front of Ederson. Walker, Lewis pushed right up into that midfield as needed. Here's Josko Gvardiol, skims that down the left-hand touchline to Matheus Nunez. Lewis on the spin for City. Now Kovacic. City just keeping possession in the middle third of Brighton's half here. Brighton working very, very, very diligently out of possession. Bbrighton, Hinchelwood just protecting Van Hecker and Igor Julio. Got really important one-on-one battles out wide, of course. Sabinho and Estepinian, and Matheus Nunez, who's a kind of unorthodox left-sided player up against Veltman. That's a poor ball from Simpson Percy, picked up on the halfway line by Mitoma. Just couldn't quite get that into Jorginho Rutter. City will clear away. Igor Julio just get across in front of Savino. Ensure that spins out of play. Quickly taken throw in for Brighton though. Back onto the edge of the Seagulls penalty area with Van Hecker. Really has been a rearguard action for Brighton so far this evening. A bit of desperate defensive performance, but very, very competent in their structure. They know how Man City can hurt teams if you're not sufficiently prepared or engaged. So far, very impressive from Fabian Herzler. Josko Gvardiol just tries to spin a pass down the left-hand channel for Phil Foden, who'd darted from the middle of the park, but it's cut out by Brighton. Kovacic will go again here, and there's a gap for Haaland to break into. Behind Van Hecke, saved by Bbrighton, and Van Hecke tries a clearance, forced home by Erling Haaland, and Manchester City have lift-off. And who else? Once again, but Erling Haaland, a 12th Premier League goal of the season for the Norwegian goal machine. And apologies to Brighton fans, just second after praising just how structured they are in defence, given away on the halfway line. Kovacic spots the narrowest of gaps in between Igor Julio and Jean-Paul Van Hecke, and that was all Erling Haaland needs. Bbrighton goes to ground, makes the save initially, but Haaland beats Van Hecke to the loose ball. Desire there from Manchester City's number 9 to get to the rebound first. And his first chance of the night, Erling Haaland has put Manchester City in front at the Amex. Pep Guardiola punches the air with delight. His ever reliable frontman there with a goal right as Manchester City needed it. Brighton, from what has been a very strong early performance, find themselves a goal behind. 25 minutes gone here. Brighton 0, Manchester City by way of Erling Haaland 1. Back underway here now as City try and put some pressure on that Brighton midfield inside the centre circle. Ajari forced back to Joel Veltman, the Seagulls right back. Rico Lewis just nips in front of Adingra there to win back possession. Nice ball in field from Nunez to find Haaland. Now Savinho needed a little bit more space to spin away there and get beyond Estepinian, but good defending from the Ecuadorian. We see too much of a sea change from Brighton in their approach here. Herzl will be confident that they remain compact, stick to the game plan. The opportunities will come against this Manchester City team. It's Kyle Walker. He's calling for calm from the players in front of him as Phil Foden darts back into his own half to pick up possession. He's nearly caught there by Ajari. Simpson Percy offers the layoff. Now break on here for City down that right hand side as Savinho goes to ground. Referee waves play on for now. Happy to let the advantage roll as Haaland tries to step away from Van Hecke inside the box, and it's poked behind for a Manchester City corner. Sam Barrett might call that back for a card against the Brighton player. It was Hinchelwood who went careering in on Savinho on the halfway line. But in a flash, City were away. Gundogan, Foden, and Haaland from right-hand side of the box. Van Hecke struggling to keep with him. Was blocked and behind for a corner by Bbrighton. Starting to get a taste for it now, Erling Haaland. Foden into the near post, and it's headed over. It was Haaland again who was challenging for that. Bbrighton came through 2 Brighton defenders to try and get his gloves on it. Haaland got away from Van Hecke. Yeah, eventually just came off Erling Haaland's shoulder as he gets there in front of Bart Verbruggen. It's been double marked there, Haaland, by Igor Julio and Van Hecke. And still manages to get a contact on the ball. But it remains 1-0 to the defending champions. Here is Van Hecker, midway inside the Brighton half of the field. Manchester City just dropping off there for a moment to allow the Dutchman to advance forward. Short on options in front of him with Ajari and Hinshelwood closed down. These are the type of games that Fabian Hertzler has called on his Brighton players to show that they're not little Brighton. That was his eye-catching comment in his press conference. He wants Brighton to be able to hold their own against any Premier League team. Jack Hinshelwood echoing that view of his manager. It's going to be a free kick here for Brighton. Joel Veltman just stepping forward from right back. Dodges away from Matheus Nunes and he's pulled by the Portugal international. Brighton 5-10 yards inside the Manchester City half of the field on this near right hand side. Will have an opportunity to get some height forward. Van Hecker, Julio. Najari thought about the quick free kick there, but the referee just tells him to wait for the moment. It's Pep Guardiola looks to organise the orchestra at the back for Manchester City. Estepinian has come over to give it a look with his left foot, but it's going to be Ajari, right-footed, just hang that one in. It's an easy claim in the end for Ederson. The waste that from Brighton. Far too easy for Ederson to dash out and get his gloves on that one. Here comes Josko Gvardiol. It's just filtered back into a left-back position in the last few minutes. And Pep Guardiola, mindful that Brighton have won a few challenges in midfield, wants to keep Walker, Simpson-Pusey and Gvardiol still in a defensive shape, regardless of their dominance of possession. Ederson again opts for the short ball to Simpson-Pusey. Kyle Walker chased down on that far left side by Kaoru Mitoma. It'll be a throw in to City in their right back spot. Half an hour gone here. It's not been a flood of chances, certainly not from a Brighton perspective. Half an opportunity for Kaoru Mitoma. Savinho forced a really important near post save from Bart Verbruggen, but the big opportunity has fallen to exactly the player that Manchester City would want it to, Erling Haaland. His 12th Premier League goal of the season so far. Here's Josko Gvardiol. Strides forward, real purpose from left back there. Gvardiol makes up some ground, gets Matheus Nunes pushed up to the Brighton penalty area. Square ball in field to Kovacic. Now Lewis, crowded out by 3-4 Brighton players back, defending on the edge of their own 18-yard box. Gvardiol, Foden, Kovacic. City eventually just nudge backwards towards the halfway line here with Josko Gvardiol. Simpson-Pusey has been given the very responsible job of being the deepest lying Manchester City player. He was the only one there inside their half of the field as Kyle Walker eventually works it to Savinho. Poor touch though by Kovacic on the edge of the box. He'll drive it. It's palmed away by Verbruggen. Don't think that was what he was intending initially, Mateo Kovacic, but he got a shot away eventually. Haaland is then blocked off by Hinshelwood on the edge of the box. Good defending there from the Brighton Academy graduate. Threw himself in there. That's a poor ball from Simpson-Pusey. Mitoma immediately snapped into though by Kyle Walker. Savinho tries to get the touch away from Estepinian. Good defending from Brighton's left back to win the ball back for the home team. It's Jorginho Rutter just dropping back into the Brighton centre circle. It's a lovely sweeping ball over to the far left hand side. Mitoma has space to run at Kyle Walker. Try to feed it into the run of Jorginho Rutter. It's Gvardiol who gets that first. City will clear it away. Haaland can battle away with Igor Julio. Needs a hand here. Gets it with Savinho, who's got Foden in support to the left-hand side. If he can get his head up. Here is Foden, on into the box, blocked. Behind for a corner. Joel Veltman did well there, got tight to Foden. Makes the block. Haaland was a one-man battering ram here for a moment. He managed to evade Igor Julio. Savinho had space to dart into, on into the penalty area, and Foden takes it early, left-footed. Blocked away. A set piece to Manchester City. Be Ilkay Gundogan to come over to take. Right-footed from this left-hand side. Arcs it in. But Bbrighton will get his hands on that one. Haven't seen too much of Fabian Hürseler in his technical area so far. Deep in conversation with his coaching staff as Estepinian tries to thread the needle there for Kaoru Mitoma. Kyle Walker just steps across and deals with that and gives an easy pass back to Simpson Pusey. Now Ederson. Brighton players trying to force him into a short ball into Kovacic, which eventually he goes for. Manchester City, of course, looking to break the hex of recent weeks. 3 successive defeats for Pep Guardiola. As I mentioned before kick-off, he's never lost 4 in a row during his illustrious career. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and here with the current defending Premier League champions, but they've been knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Tottenham. Premier League unbeaten run ended at 32 games away at Bournemouth last weekend, and then a real Champions League walloping in Lisbon in midweek. Ruben Amorim signing off in his final home game. The Portuguese capital, they take on Sporting Braga this weekend, and that will be his final game before he formally takes the reins at Old Trafford on Monday morning. That long searching ball played forward by Ilkay Gundogan. Passing radar certainly not on there for Erling Haaland. That'll dribble all the way through to Bbrighton. 10 minutes to go until the interval here at the Amex. That long sweep over to the left side. Kaoru Mitoma does well just to read the bounce off Kyle Walker. We've got support here from Danny Welbeck. There's a sliding block there from Josko Gvardiol. The Brighton players are appealing for a penalty. It's eventually deflected behind. Not for a corner. Span over to this far side for a throw-in. The Brighton players are asking the question of Sam Barrett here. Kaoru Mitoma lost the initial tussle with Kyle Walker, but he just waited for the bounce to fall his way. Welbeck gets away from Gundogan. It's the sliding figure on the 6-yard line of Josko Gvardiol that blocks the attempt. Estepinian couldn't steer it on goal himself, and Sam Barrett has cleared that one as not worthy of a VAR check. To strike Josko Gvardiol on the arm. It's already prone on the floor though, the Croatian international. Danny Welbeck was clear on that one. Sam Barrett says no. And he is the man in form for the home side, Danny Welbeck, despite that gap on his copybook of never scoring a Premier League goal against Manchester City. Scored 3 Premier League goals in his last 4 games. Adds real experience and balance to Bart Verbruggen's side. And they are going to need something from him in the second half, you'd imagine. Brighton are unbeaten in the Premier League at home here this season. 5 games, no defeats. Rico Lewis has his pocket picked there, 30 yards from goal. He goes down and he's caught Danny Welbeck. It's going to be a caution there for Lewis. Welbeck goes steaming in on the young defender. I think Rico Lewis took the practical decision there. He was caught by Adingra initially, and then as Welbeck tried to step away from him, just sticks out a leg and brings down the Brighton striker, who would have had a shooting opportunity there on the edge of the Manchester City penalty area. Pleading his innocence, Rico Lewis, but it doesn't really have much of a case there. We are going to see first set piece opportunity for Brighton within shooting range. Danny Welbeck will be the go-to guy here, you'd imagine. 25 yards from goal, just slightly right of centre. Estepinian, Veltman in attendance. Danny Welbeck, who does have this in his locker, looks the most viable option here for Brighton. Estepinian with the dummy, and Welbeck round the wall, round Ederson's post. Not a bad effort from Danny Welbeck. Ederson gets his weight across though. Imagine the Brazilian had that covered. Just not quite enough whip and bend from Welbeck. A bit of positivity to end the half though from Fabian Hürzeler's side. And alongside those 3 successive defeats, Manchester City's away form not as imperious as you'd imagine. They won away at Wolves on the 20th of October, but that was just one Premier League win in their last 3. Defeats, of course, at Bournemouth. They drew up at Newcastle at the end of September as well, so plenty for Brighton to hold on to, not least that impressive Premier League record right here. Manchester City, however, have tended to rule the roost. Brighton have only been a Premier League team since 2017-18, so they've only known the Pep Guardiola days of Manchester City, and 12 wins from 14 for the defending champions tells the story. Brighton have slowly and surely got better. 4 points in the last 4 games against Guardiola. Just the one Premier League win way back in 2021. As Ederson a little bit uncomfortable there as he's just forced out of his 18-yard box to clear away in front of Mitoma. Welbeck doing his best there to try and win a throw for Brighton. The referee claiming that the initial final touch came off a Brighton player. Throw into Manchester City. Kyle Walker will just step forward from right back to take midway inside the visitors' half of the field. Play back to Ederson. Now Kovacic on the turn on the edge of his own penalty area. Hinshelwood will chase Gundogan down. Now Ejari looks to race in on Ederson. Good clearance under pressure there from Ederson, but it's given away by Savinho. Hinshelwood will go back into his own half. Igor Julio. Now Van Hecker in the centre circle. Lovely ball into the feet of Danny Welbeck. Can he feed it off to Rutter? No, but it finds its way to Mitoma. There's a chance here for Mitoma to angle it back across goal. Good defending from Rico Lewis. Got back in position there. Makes the clearance. Mitoma just sniffed that opportunity with Kyle Walker. Pulled out of position. Trying to just steer that back across the 6-yard line to Rutter. Half chance for Brighton. Not seen Ederson tested as we tick towards the half-time whistle here. Well, Brighton have shown plenty in fits and starts. That Mitoma against Walker battle could be a huge one in the second period. Long ball just played in behind the Brighton defence. Phil Foden thought he timed his run. The offside flag up against the England man. Just over 2 minutes to go here before the end of the regulation 45. Igor Julio with the switch to this near right-hand touchline. Adingra will drop back into his own half to find Van Hecke. It's just cheaply given away though by Brighton as they try and switch from right to left. Estepinian holds his hand up in apology. We've just been shown a replay of that Erling Haaland goal. Just ruthless from City to cut through a gap. And Erling Haaland likes to play on the shoulder. Finds that slither of space in between Igor Julio and Van Hecke, and despite the best efforts of Bbrighton and his Dutch colleague in the Brighton defence, Haaland just had enough power to force it over the line. City again just pressed on the edge of their own penalty area, but really good work from Mateo Kovacic to find Ilkay Gundogan. Moved over to a rather unorthodox right back position there, and Lewis manages to nudge it onto Haaland on halfway. He goes down under the challenge from Igor Julio. And the referee wants a word here. There's going to be a caution for the Brighton central defender, more for his reaction than the challenge itself, I think. Furious with that call. He does catch Haaland, not a particularly poor tackle, but enough to ease Haaland off his feet inside the centre circle, and his frustrated response means that he goes into the notebook. He'll have to watch himself now, Igor Julio. He's got another 45 minutes up against Erling Haaland to deal with. Dinked forward up towards the edge of the Brighton penalty area, but it's well dealt with. Finds his way to Mitoma, who darts back just in front of Estepinian at left back for Brighton. Will we get one more opportunity before Sam Barrett blows the whistle for the break? Here's Van Hecke. Feeds that up into the centre circle, and Rutter just tried to go for the first time ball round the corner. Really good bit of defending there from Simpson Pusey to anticipate both Welbeck and Rutter. Just steers that back to his goalkeeper. Very solid 45, first ever 45 Premier League minutes for the 19-year-old Jemai Simpson Pusey. Would have been the easy call for Pep Guardiola to rest him after a difficult night in Lisbon, where Victor Gyökeres scored a hat-trick against him, and Manuel Akanji is on the bench this evening. But he's stuck by the youngster. He's repaid him with a very calm first half. 2 minutes of additional time added on here as Manchester City look to get over the line with that 1-0 advantage at the break. Here's Kyle Walker, just takes control of the situation for a moment. Back inside his own half. Brighton will drop off and let City have it. Eventually, just rather tamely works its way back to Ederson. Go long this time, the Manchester City keeper, and Haaland as well, just to shield that inside the centre circle. But Foden can't quite release Savinho. Very important touch there from Estepinian. Just stretched out a leg to divert it back to Bart Verbruggen. Savinho had the run on him. Good early pass from Phil Foden to try and set Savinho away. Matheus Nunes fouls Veltman there on the charge from right back for Brighton. Final seconds of the first half. Van Hecke thought about the direct ball up to Welbeck, but he's shut down by Foden. Now Igor Julio. Brighton just trying to work an angle to punch a pass into the Manchester City half. Van Hecke needs runners in front of him from the centre circle. Igor Julio now fizzes that one into the channel. There's runners here for Brighton. If they can find a ball across, deflected behind for a corner. Simpson Pusey that gets the touch. And the referee's actually signalled for an offside there as that ball was played. It was Estepinian who just continued bombing forward from left back. Flag flashes up and there will be no corner for Brighton. And that is that for the first half. Here Sam Barrett puts his whistle to his lips. And it's not been a thriller, but it's been job done so far for Manchester City. 3 successive defeats heading And the scorer of the only goal so far, Erling Haaland. The ball just lofted in from the right-hand side into the gloves of Ederson. Flag on the far side goes up for offside. Manchester City will have a free kick. So just that one swap in the Brighton engine room. Ajari, who was cautioned in the first half for a foul on Phil Foden, that may well have played a role in Fabian Herzl's thinking. A really crucial 40 or so minutes incoming. Manchester City looking to break that run of 3 successive losses. Brighton unbeaten at home in the Premier League here this season. Need to find something if they are to extend that impressive streak. Throwing down this near left-hand side, just hurled in the direction of Danny Welbeck, and he's managed to win a throw-in. Kaoru Mitoma, though, will toss that back to the halfway line to Estepinian. Now Igor Julio. Balaba's first touch of the ball inside the centre circle. Jean-Paul Van Hecker finds Joel Veltman on the overlap down the Brighton right. Just squeezed backwards though by Matheus Nunes. So many changes in this Man City team when they're in possession, out of possession. Towards the Manchester City penalty area. Forced backwards though to Baleba. And eventually they'll work possession to this near left-hand side with Kaoru Mitoma. Hinchelwood just protecting possession in front of Kyle Walker. Now Baleba tried just to lift that through a couple of tackles into the feet of Dan. In support. Just goes to the little 1-2 there with Adingra. He's collided with Matheus Nunes there. I have to say I'm shocked that wasn't a foul against Matheus Nunes. Barge clean into Adingra, taking the wind out of the winger. Danny Welbeck certainly thought that was a foul, and absolutely shocked that was not given as a foul. He popped it through Nunes' legs and was then just barged to the floor. I mean, there's a possibility the referee might revisit this here, but for now he said no. Possession given back to Brighton, just inside their own half of the field, with from left back. Mitoma's shut off though by Mateo Kovacic and volleyed, swinging over to that right hand side again with Adingra the target. Skips inside away from Nunes again, tries to lift it into Mitoma. Mitoma will nod it into the gloves of Ederson. Couldn't get enough power on that. Get enough purchase on it. It's an easy take in the end for the Brazilian international in between the posts for Manchester City. Another Brazilian here. Savinho pops that through Baleba's legs and he's caught by Estepinian on the halfway line. He does want to call Estepinian back for a quick word though. He's gathered the captains here, Welbeck and Walker. Clear foul from Estepinian. Lovely bit of skill from Savinho to dip and dodge away from a couple of challenges. Might count himself slightly fortunate there, the Ecuador international, to not go into the book. We are back underway, 7 minutes into the second half. No change in the scoreline. Brighton 0, Manchester City 1. We'll be getting team news from Anfield in just a few moments' time on a Slots team hosting Aston Villa on a misty Merseyside night. And if this result stays as it is, they'll be fighting to get back on the top of the Premier League table. Manchester City currently on 26 points, Liverpool on 25, but with a game less played until they get underway at 8 o'clock. Here's Estepinian, floats that in from the left-hand side. What a header from Jack Hinchelwood. Arrived from nowhere, kept the header down. Too close to Ederson to trouble the Man City goalkeeper. Estepinian had the freedom of the left flank to get forward there. There's 5 Brighton players inside the Manchester City penalty box. He picks out Hinchelwood. He gets a really good connection on it, the Brighton midfielder. Quick reactions of Ederson keep the scores level here. Better from Brighton. And Hinchelwood has just signalled to get the referee's attention here. He's gone down with a slight injury, possibly a bit of cramp. Brighton physios will dash on and we'll have ourselves a little break in play here. He landed quite heavily as he thudded back to earth after that header. Great climb as he very difficult to judge that type of a situation. Could he have done better? Could he have made things difficult for Ederson? He's just concentrating on keeping the header down. He's back on his feet here after that little bit of treatment. He seems okay to continue for now. Just jogged over the sideline for the moment. The Premier League protocol on injuries, of course. Players must leave the field of play if they have received on-pitch treatment before being ushered back on by Sam Barrett. 10 minutes into the second half here. One big chance for Brighton, their best of the game so far. Ederson, who's certainly not had the best couple of weeks of his career, conceded 4 against Sporting Lisbon in midweek, 2 against Brighton last time out in the Premier League. As Haaland lines one up here from 25 yards. Bounces against Jean-Paul Van Hekke. Haaland claiming handball against the Dutchman there. Referee says it was accidental. A very atypical Erling Haaland performance. Not seen an enormous amount of him involved in City's play as they look to carousel possession around in the first 45 minutes, but the big moment in the game as it stands has belonged to him here. Good feet from Rico Lewis, trying to trick his way into the Brighton box. That loose ball will get picked up by Gundogan. Joel Veltman tries to see it out for a corner, but Van Hekke is needed there. The block eventually spins into the gloves of Bbrighton. Good determined play there from Gundogan, just wouldn't give it up. Joel Veltman just misjudged the spin of the ball as he tried to see it home for a goal kick. Fabian Herzler has sent some of his substitutes out to warm up, and he does have some additional firepower on the bench. João Pedro, Evan Ferguson, Julio Enciso. Enciso, incidentally, is the only current Brighton player to have scored a Premier League goal for the Seagulls against Manchester City. Break in behind here for Haaland, if he can square it for Savinho. What a clearance from Igor Julio. 2 lacks from Brighton as they tried to play out. It was Igor Julio that was too deep and kept Haaland onside there. Unselfish from the Norwegian forward. Just tried to roll that across the box for Savinho. But as Igor Julio gets back in, takes no chances there, just thuds it over his own crossbar. And it'll be a corner to Manchester City. Brighton just too ponderous as they tried to build out from the back, and there's another concern for them here as Jack Hinshelwood has dropped to the floor again. Been struggling for the last few minutes, the Brighton number 41, and we're going to see ourselves another change in the Brighton midfield. Baleba on for Ayari at the break. It looks as if Fabian Hürzeler will have to rotate once more. Mads Wiffer is being readied as we tick over the hour mark here. Mads Wiffer has actually been told to sit down there. It's going to be Matt O'Reilly is the replacement for Hinshelwood. Would have thought that Wiffer was a slightly more like-for-like replacement. More attack-minded. O'Reilly is an indicator of Hürzeler's confidence that they can go for this. Back in the team after injury. Can he spearhead a change for Brighton? They've got a corner to defend in the meantime, though. Matheus Nunes just making a point to the referee over some pushing and shoving. Be Gundogan to take, right-footed, over on that far left-hand side. Whips it into the near post towards Lewis. Rebounds back out to Gundogan. He'll lift it back in towards Haaland. Just eventually bounces through. That'll be a goal kick to Bbrighton. This for them. Here's a break on here down this near left hand side. Jorginho Rutter's done really well to eat up the ground. That ball into O'Reilly, just a touch heavy, and Gvardiol does really well to see it back to Ederson. Now Gundogan caught in possession. The referee's blown that as a foul. Former Germany international just using his experience there to get his body in front of the ball and win a free kick back at his own half. The referee just encouraging Manchester City to get on with that free kick. There is Rico Lewis inside the centre circle for City. Long switch from the centre circle over to the left side, and Matheus Nunes will force Simon Adingra to concede a throw-in. Just past the 18-yard line in front of the Brighton goal. Rico Lewis from his new left-back position will jog forward to take this for City. Into the feet of Nunes, who battle away there with Joel Veltman by the corner flag. Hacked away by Veltman. There'll be another corner to City. Midway inside Brighton's half. Back to Josko Gvardiol. Now Kovacic. Gvardiol. Miscue there from Josko Gvardiol, and he was shut down by Welbeck. We'll throw into Brighton this time. Opportunity here for Joel Veltman just to gain a few yards from the throw-in. Referee once again telling him to hurry up about his business. Brighton do well just to win the turnover on halfway, but Josko Gvardiol steps in, beats Jorginho Rutter to it. Rico Lewis will now get City moving. Matheus Nunes sticks like glue to that left-hand touchline. Backed up by Gundogan. Baleba tries to snap in there. Good ball round the corner from Gundogan to find Foden. Now Savinho with space to dart at Estepinian, who'll drag him back into the Brighton box. Cleared away though by the Seagulls. Rutter challenged by Kovacic, picked up by Kyle Walker. Real battle incoming here for Manchester City. dimension of the midfield have changed significantly, of course, for Brighton, with Hinshelwood and Ajari off. O'Reilly, you'll imagine, would look to bomb forward and try and link with Welbeck and Rutter. Even more responsibility on Carlos Baleba there to just maintain his position. Rico Lewis feeds that over to the far left side with Nunez. Back into the centre circle now with Mateo Kovacic. Gundogan. Two veteran campaigners there, Kovacic and Gundogan. They won't panic. They know just how important it is to come away from the Amex tonight with 3 points in the bag. And as promised, we do have team news from Anfield, which we'll get to in just a moment. But Nunez has stolen in behind here to the byline, blocked. Really good bit of defending there. And Jean-Paul Van Hecke goes to ground to make the challenge. Brighton will clear it away, but City will win it back on halfway with Kovacic. Thought about taking that shot on early, but he spots the run. And Brahan Gruda on. And it's Simon Adingra and Georgie Rutter who've been replaced. So 4 changes from Brighton so far. Just the one more available for Herzler. No movements as yet from Pep Guardiola. Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva amongst those options on the bench for Pep if needed. A switch from right to left from Savinho to Nunez. He'll try and storm forward to the edge of the Brighton box. Check backwards though as it's put under a spot of pressure by Veltman. And Pedro will go through the middle in support of Danny Welbeck, and Gruda looks as if he's lining up on the Right hand side is the replacement for Adingra. Savinio tries to find a little pocket of space inside the Brighton box, but he's buffeted out of it. Wonder if we'll see Evan Ferguson in the final throws for Brighton. He scored against Wolves here at the end of October. Came off the bench for the final 15 minutes and netted what looked like and what should really have been the winning goal. Wolves scoring twice in the final 2 minutes of normal time to secure a draw. Good win there from Welbeck in the centre circle, and Brighton have got the chance to break here. They've got numbers over. Here's the substitute, Gruda. Just couldn't quite take that under his spell as he raced away down the right hand side, but he's got support here from Veltman. City have got numbers back now, parked on the edge of their own 18-yard box to try and keep Brighton at arm's length. Good switch though to Matoma, who fizzed that one in towards Welbeck. Danny Welbeck just not able to sort his feet out in time. Really clever ball there from Kaoru Mitoma. I think City were expecting that to be lofted in towards the head of Danny Welbeck, and he kept it low. Welbeck probably had to take that first time, and also had Matt O'Reilly storming in behind him at the far post. Possibly a bit of a distraction for him. Things are moving in a positive direction for Brighton, but they need to take one of these chances. Good work there from Baleba to win the turnover, and Matoma into the box, goes down under the challenge of Edison. No penalty appeal. A fair challenge there from Edison. Had to get that one right, the Man City goalkeeper. Poor play from Kovacic. O'Reilly won the initial ball, Baleba with the carry, and Matoma was in like a flash. But Edison, brave there, throwing himself at Matoma's feet. And João Pedro's got space in behind here if he can be found, with a ball in over the top. It's a wasted effort from the substitute. He's claiming he was nudged in the back by Kyle Walker. Manchester City caught out again for the second time in as many minutes. Van Hecke seeing that gap in between Kyle Walker and Simpson Pusey. João Pedro timed his run, he kept himself onside, but he never really looked in control as he took it on his left foot. He just tangled with Walker there as he tries to get a strike on goal. A little wry smile there from João Pedro to Kyle Walker, and a rather knowing look from the Manchester City captain. We now find ourselves with something that's becoming a bit of a Premier League regular occurrence this season, a breakdown in technology. It's one of the assistant referees need some technical support. Not a broken flag, a damaged earpiece is the word from the fourth official. So we'll have a little break in play here as we move into the final 20 minutes of normal time. Seems a long way ago since Erling Haaland got the ball rolling for City. Way back in the 23rd minute, forcing it home from close range. The Brighton back two split by a ball from Kovacic, despite Bbrighton saving Haaland's first effort. Reacted smartly to stab it over the line. And Pep Guardiola is now going to turn to his bench to try and get some balance on, some fresh legs. Bernardo Silva being prepped and readied. We're still waiting for the technical update on our assistant referee here. One of the additions of the modern game, of course. Lee Betts is being reconnected to those that he needs to be. Or is it Steve Meredith? I beg your pardon, it's the other assistant referee that is having his technology upgraded. The change being made in this break and play for Manchester City. Ilkay Gundogan is off. And Bernardo Silva is on for the defending champions. Steve Meredith has been plugged back in. He's ready for action. And like the rest of us, he's got himself a big 15-16 minutes to go. Goal kick taken short by Edison to Simpson Pusey. Not been as involved, the 19-year-old, in the second half, which is a positive, you'd imagine, for a centre-back, and particularly one making their Premier League debut. Looked very good in the first 45 minutes, calm and collected alongside Gvardiol and Walker. Here's João Pedro, who's just drifted over to this near left touchline. Eventually forced back into the Brighton centre circle with Van Hecker. Now given to Veltman. Then back to the substitute Gruder, who gives it away there. And Manchester City try and make some ground down the left-hand side, but a quick ball in field to Foden. Nodded back to Bbrighton by Igor Julio. Certainly get the sensation that we're not done in terms of goal scoring opportunities. Manchester City haven't created much in this second half. They haven't created much throughout the game, it must be said. Just taking a look at some of the statistics surrounding their performance, and the most important one, of course, is the goal that's ended up in the back of the net. But Brighton Hove Albion a 1.43 XG, Manchester City 1.98. There's not oceans of difference between them. One of the big differences between them is going to be incoming in a moment or two. Kevin De Bruyne, the latest rolled off the Manchester City substitutes bench. Pep Guardiola's just given the signal there to Savinho to say that he'll be replaced in a moment. Next time the ball goes out of play here. Final 15 minutes for De Bruyne. Could do little in the final moments in midweek in Lisbon. He was given a 6-minute cameo in Portugal, and injuries have been a dominant theme for him this season as he makes a major call on his Premier League future in 2025. We have got a little stoppage in play here as there's a free kick given away for Brighton. Referee just calls a halt for a moment. Savinho exits over on that far side, and De Bruyne is now on for Man City. This is his first Premier League appearance in almost 2 months. Hasn't been seen in a domestic game since 2-1 win over Brentford all the way back on September the 14th. Here is Kaoru Mitoma. Acres of space to skip into down this left-hand side. Kyle Walker, little exposed after Savinho's gone off. Phil Foden will chase back now and lend a hand. João Pedro takes over from Mitoma. Lovely ball there from Pedro to free O'Reilly, and he just tried to clip that back across the face of goal towards Danny Welbeck. It's behind Welbeck. Joel Veltman will keep it going over by the corner flag. Van Hecker lifts it in, headed up. Not in the direction of the goal though by João Pedro. City will clear away only as far as Haaland, midway inside Brighton's half, and he's immediately lost out to Carlos Baleba. Brighton roll again down this left side. Good feet there from João Pedro to get away from Phil Foden, but he rather ran out of space. Goes out for a throw in to Manchester City, and Sam Barrett has been irked by something there. He's flashed the card at Simpson Percy, who marks his Premier League debut with a yellow card. Not sure if that was possibly for dissent against the teenage centre-back. We'll get an update on that in just a moment. Throw from City, just rather wasteful in the direction of Bernardo Silva. Van Hecke will get that back to Bbrighton. Good play there from Bbrighton, just to dash across the 18-yard box and lend a hand for Joel Veltman. Two players called up for international duty by Ronald Koeman earlier this week. They'll feature for the Netherlands in the Nations League. A little bit of La Liga news that has just been confirmed in the last few moments. Anyone who's been following Real Madrid this season, a 4-0 win at home to Osasuna on their return to La Liga action, but Eder Militao has been ruled out for the remainder of the season for his second anterior cruciate ligament tear in the space of 15 months. Brighton again try and storm forward away down this left-hand side. Matoma will get it across the box, and there's a chaos in there. It's forced home by Brighton. João Pedro with the equaliser. Manchester City stunned at the Amex, and Mitoma just eases that in, hopefully towards the penalty spot. Manchester City, 2 bites of the cherry to get it away, and João Pedro keeps his cool and smashes that past Ederson. Bodies strewn all over the place. Gvardiol goes to ground, he can't get it away. Matheus Nunes takes a swing, he can't get it away. And as the maroon shirts of City stand looking at each other inside their own penalty box, off the bench, João Pedro fires past Ederson. And with 10 minutes to go here, we have a game on our hands. Did really well there, João Pedro, not to rush it. Just waited for the ball to squirt in his direction. And he lashes that beyond Ederson. Roar of frustration from Erling Haaland. He scored his goal, but now João Pedro off the bench has found his 3rd Premier League goal of the season. What do Manchester City have in response to this? Phil Foden tries to race away down the left-hand side. It's just hacked clear by Van Hecke over the halfway line, picked up by Kyle Walker. Now Kevin De Bruyne collided with Carlos Baleba as she's bursting forward down this right channel, and the referee claiming that Baleba and Estepinian doubled up on De Bruyne there. That'll be a free kick to City. 10 minutes plus whatever is added on by Sam Barrett for Manchester City to pick up a first win in 4 games. They've not won away from home since the 20th of October. That was a late one as well. John Stones deep in added time, securing a 2-1 win at Wolves. They might need a similar rescue act from somebody in maroon this evening if they're to avoid going into the international break. Potentially, of course, if Liverpool win tonight, trailing the league leaders by 4 points. Still plenty of time to go though, of course. Kevin De Bruyne shoved almost back into his own half of the field there by Kaoru Mitoma. Lewis takes over inside the centre circle, tries to feed that back into the run of Kevin De Bruyne, but it's behind him. Brighton happy to see that just zip out of play for a throw in to Brighton. Estepinian will come up towards the halfway line to take confirmation of that Simpson Pusey yellow card. It's for a foul on Danny Welbeck. Guardiola does have a couple more options up his sleeve. James McAtee, possible option off the bench if needed. The teenager Jacob Wright as well. Well, for the moment, Manchester City are staring a fourth successive game without a win. Welbeck tries to charge away down that right-hand side, but he's trapped. Josko Gvardiol just in front of the Brighton 18-yard box. Quickly taken throw by Welbeck to try and get Brighton moving with a bit of zip in their step. Van Hecker and Igor Julio both tiptoe over the halfway line here now, and Julio will feed it on to Estepinian. Mitoma storms past him down the left-hand side, but he's tracked well by Bernardo Silva. Brighton will have to go back to Van Hecker and Julio on halfway. City not able to win possession back there. Haaland and Phil Foden. Ball through the lines there, and Welbeck will lay it off to Pedro, and it finds its way through to O'Reilly, and Brighton are in front. What a finish! What a turnaround! Ponderous again in defence from Manchester City, and for the second time tonight, a Brighton substitute has punctured through the champions. And Matt O'Reilly just keeps himself onside. And that is his first Premier League goal of the season. The City defenders look across their line. And Matt O'Reilly, who's enjoyed a terrible start to his Brighton career after injury, just keeps on bombing forward from midfield. Great link up here between Welbeck and João Pedro. And O'Reilly keeps going. Rico Lewis leaves him. And as Ederson sprawls on the penalty spot, he just lifts it beyond the goalkeeper. And from 1-0 down, and staring the potential of their Premier League unbeaten streak ending here at the Amex Stadium, the Seagulls have taken flight, and Manchester City are 5 minutes away from setting the record that Pep Guardiola never wanted to see. A fourth successive defeat. A first for him, unless the defending champions can find something here in what has been a chaotic finale. Baleba battling away in the centre circle there, loses out though to Matheus Nunes. Kovacic, De Bruyne on the turn, tries to nick that through to Erling Haaland, but Brighton deal with it. Here's O'Reilly. He's caught there right on the edge of the centre circle by Kovacic. Be a free kick to Brighton, chance to just release the pressure valve. Guardiola, incensed on the sideline, is taking his seat now, and he knows he's going to need another Manchester City rescue act. Really good forward play between Welbeck and João Pedro. João Pedro just waited for O'Reilly. And full credit to the Dane. He kept going. Really calm finish there. Just gets a toe on it to lift it over Ederson. Brighton here, if they can box clever, could be on for just their second ever Premier League victory against the might of Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. 2021, their sole Premier League victory against the current reigning English champions. It's a sign of the changes that have gone on at this club, that only Danny Welbeck started that game and started today. Ben White, Pascal Gross, Yves Bissouma, Alexis McAllister, some of the names that have moved on. Leandro Trossard as well came off the bench. Been a new wave for Roberto De Zerbi last season, and certainly under Fabian Hürzeler in this one. No indication from Guardiola just yet that there's going to be any changes as we tick towards added time. That'll be the next focus for him and his players as the board is raised aloft at the Amex. Brighton just have to stick to their task here. And as soon as Sam Allison lets us know how many more minutes we're going to have to sit through of this nail-biter, I will let you know. Phil Foden just drifts that ball down the far left-hand side. Matheus Nunes will chase it all the way to the corner flag, and he's bundled into the back of Joel Veltman. Be a free kick to Brighton. That's exactly what Joel Veltman wanted there. Just being shown replays of these two goals. The João Pedro equaliser and the O'Reilly winner at the moment as it stands. Both scrappy but decisive. Manchester City not doing enough in either situation to clear their lines. And the Toma cross for the João Pedro goal, causing problems for Gvardiol and Simpson Pusi. Then the Matt O'Reilly finish was just a bit of a stop-start move for the visitors' backline, and O'Reilly grabs his chance. What a time to score your first ever Premier League goal. Phil Foden here, just trying to scamper through towards the Brighton penalty area, but he's eventually shut off by Joel Veltman. Anywhere will do there for the Brighton defender. Just smashes that into the stands, and Man City will come again midway inside the Brighton half, down the left-hand side for the visitors. De Bruyne to the byline, lifts it in towards Haaland. Good defensive header there from Igor Julio. Brighton only clear it 35 yards from goal. Lewis will work it over to the left-hand side now with De Bruyne. Deflected pass that'll fall for Foden. Brings it under his spell inside the box. He needs options to try and pick the lock here. De Bruyne lines one up from the edge of the box. Just flashes past Bbrighton's post. Spotted a little gap there. Kevin De Bruyne tries to whip it in. Bbrighton gets across, and he's happy to wave that into the stands behind him. And there is going to be one final Brighton change. No sign of Evan Ferguson this evening. And Fabian Hürzeler looking to just shut up shop in the final moments. Jakub Moder on. The Poland international will take the place of Kaoru Mitoma. Danny Welbeck, you'd imagine, will be left up front on his own. Pep Guardiola is out on his feet here, screaming instructions to the Manchester City players. Will be days to ponder this result for the former Barcelona manager over the international break incoming. Majority of his squad, of course, will head away with their national teams. They're back in action on the 23rd of November at home to Tottenham, followed by a Champions League game at home to Feyenoord, and then they kick off December with a mouth-watering game away at Liverpool on the 1st of December. But for the moment, attention is here, and we've got 9 minutes of added time to sit through. 9 minutes for Brighton fans to hold on. 9 minutes for Manchester City fans to hope that they can find a way to avoid making it 4 in a row. 4 defeats from all competitions. Here's Ederson. Just steers that onto the edge of his own penalty area with Simpson Pusic. Kovacic will take charge now. Makes ground into the centre circle for City. Kevin De Bruyne will take that over the halfway line. Just tried the rather ambitious switch over to the left-hand side for Phil Foden, but it's a bit of a miscue from the Belgian. Bbrighton gives the shout to his defenders in front of him that he will Happy to gather that one in. Referee just warning the Brighton goalkeeper there about potential time wasting. He knows how valuable this result will be, but the rules are the rules. City immediately win the ball back from the turnover. Now Kovacic, space to dart into, finds Foden. There's an angle for Foden to drive that across. Again, just doesn't quite have his shooting boots on tonight, Phil Foden. 6 goals in his last 4 games here at the Amex. Hasn't managed to find the back of the net so far. Pep Guardiola, the stern expression on his face. Can he find a trick to get City back into this one? Here's Rico Lewis. Eases forward from left back for City, over the halfway line onto Foden. Again, that Brighton press just forcing Manchester City back into the centre circle with Kyle Walker. Now Bernardo Silva. City just knocking the ball between themselves in the centre circle here as Josko Gvardiol will fire that long into the penalty area. Matheus Nunes just keeps it in play. Estepinian will slide in, concedes the throw in. He's claiming a free kick there, and the referee agrees with Estepinian. Smart bit of play for the Brighton defender there. Gets himself in front of Nunes enough to invite the contact, as they say. Every second counts here for Brighton. Happy to just launch that into Manchester City territory, and it's won back by the champions. There's De Bruyne over the halfway line, runs into a wall of Brighton players though, and he's forced out wide onto the left hand side now with Lewis. Kovacic again, City forced back towards the halfway line. Kyle Walker sprays it out to this near right hand side, and there's space for Bernardo Silva to go at Estepinian here, forcing him back towards the 18-yard box. Fired in, headed away by Igor Julio, picked up by Kovacic. Good foot there from João Pedro. All hands to the pump here for Brighton. João Pedro could have done with getting a bit more on that clearance, and Simpson Pusey will keep it for City on the halfway line. Now De Bruyne. Again, just angled over to this near right-hand side with Silva, who'll try and torment Estepinian again. Goes to ground there, Silva. No foul, says the referee. Estepinian hasn't managed to get this away here, and he needs a helping hand from Julio. Again, that's poor from Brighton as they try and ease the pressure. Moda gives it away, picked up by Kovacic. De Bruyne. Moda, who made the initial mistake, just sticks out a leg there and concedes a throw-in. We are halfway through the additional 9 minutes tacked on at the end of the game here. And it is all one-way traffic. Brighton hanging on to what could be just their second ever Premier League win against Manchester City. It was curled in by Kyle Walker, and Josko Gvardiol threw himself at it. He's going away from goal there, Gvardiol, as that zipped in from the right hand side by Walker. Got himself ahead of the ball, Gvardiol, and just wasn't able to guide it back on target to trouble Bbrighton. A frustrating night all round for Manchester City. They tried to contain Brighton, and even after that João Pedro equaliser, you did feel that they would have enough to avoid the possibility of that 4th successive loss. But they are now just seconds away from exactly that scenario. a nightmare scenario for Pep Guardiola, an unprecedented one for him. You mentioned before we got underway here tonight, you have to go all the way back to 2006 to find the last time that Manchester City lost 4 games in a row in all competitions. Stuart Pearce was the manager there. The Abu Dhabi Investment Group had no involvement in the club. And this near right-hand side, midway into the Brighton half. Nunez has taken a bit of a whack there, and he's going to have to hobble on for the final seconds. Here's Rico Lewis. Kovacic will loft that into the penalty area. Brighton, everybody back there inside the penalty area. De Bruyne curls it in, headed away by Veltman. It's returned back in by Josko Gvardiol. And there is a wrestling match going on here between Van Hecke and Haaland. Van Hecke had a pretty hefty piece of Haaland's shirt there as he was on the ground. Haaland tries to brush him off, and there's plenty to sort out for Sam Barrett. All of that seemed to happen off the ball. A sarcastic thumbs up from Manchester City's number 9. It was a real tangle there. I think Van Hecke was possibly thinking that Haaland was going to try and squeeze Bbrighton as he landed on that loose ball. Just a bit of gamesmanship, I think, from the Brighton centre-back. Just eat down the clock a little bit and try and get the home side over the line here. Bbrighton will go long with the goal kick. It's helped on in the direction of O'Reilly. He loses out on that tussle, and the loose ball is smashed away by João Pedro. And the final whistle goes here at the Amex. 2 massive stories either side of the divide. An unwanted record for Pep Guardiola, his 4th successive defeat as Manchester City manager. Never before seen in his long and distinguished career. But that only tells half of the tale from the Amex. Goals off the bench for João Pedro and a first Premier League one for Matt O'Reilly. Fans tuning in for this result. That keeps them top of the table without a ball kicked at Anfield tonight. They start against Aston Villa in 30 minutes' time. And the title race
got his player booked because of a little reaction. But look, he's going to shake his hand. I think he's basically, we're watching now live on our screen, I think he's saying that you've caused a situation you didn't need to do. They shake hands and part company, but it's a call now for these Manchester City players. They need big players to step up and be counted. No doubt they've got huge talent in that dressing room, but now it's about character, now it's about personality. They have got it. We've seen him dig from deep before. But look at the sound here from the Brighton players and the fans. They're loving life here down the American Express Stadium.
They are. It's party time here. People are dancing in the stands. The Brighton players are taking the acclaim. It's the first time that Brighton have been unbeaten in their first 6 home matches of a top-flight season since 1982. And what a start this is for Fabian Hürzeler. Beaten both Manchester clubs and Tottenham here this season. So it feels that everything's on the up and up. And for Manchester City, well, this is something else, isn't it? So that's just about it from us for the time being. We'll bring you the live interviews if we can during the course of 606. Steve Sidwell, thank you very much for your company here this afternoon.
Absolute
we knew
pleasure.
It was going to be interesting, didn't we? And it did indeed turn out to be. And what about Aberdeen? Did they hang on for their win? Kenny Crawford.
More than hang on, John. Full-time Aberdeen 4, Dundee 1. Operation Bounce Back is complete for the Dons. Last week's League Cup semi-final thrashing from Celtic was a sore one, but the response to that setback has been convincing. Dundee are the latest club to realise a trip to Pittodrie doesn't yield any souvenirs. Aberdeen haven't lost at home since February. They haven't lost at all in the league since March. Tonight, low-thumped finishes by Antti Paloversa and Topi Keskinen put the hosts in control after Dundee had Simon Murray's first-half penalty saved by Dimitar Mitov. Murray made amends with a nice header to make it 2-1, but Vicente Bizawan immediately restored the Dons' 2-goal cushion, and Kevin Nisbet made it 4 in added time. 10 wins, 1 draw now for Aberdeen now in the Premiership. Jimmy Tillene's men 3 points clear at the summit. Celtic visit Kilmarnock tomorrow. Full-time Aberdeen 4, Dundee 1.
Yes, they do. Celtic and Rangers matches will be covered on 5 Live tomorrow afternoon. If you're a Brighton fan, you want to listen to the second half again, do so via BBC Sounds. And tomorrow's matches, 2 o'clock, Manchester United, Leicester on 5 Live. 4:30, Chelsea, Arsenal on 5 Live. Nottingham Forest, Newcastle on Sport Extra from 2. Tottenham, Ipswich on the website from 2. All the weekend sport reviewed and previewed. Weekend breakfast in the morning. And Colin Murray's on from 10 to 12, which includes the excellent Great Football Songbook from 10:30 in the morning. And listen to the 5 Live commentaries as well via your smart speaker if you say play Radio 5 Live to your device. It's almost time to play 606 with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton, which will be coming up after the news on 5 Live with Jill Mackenzie.
The voice of the UK.
And the home of the Premier League.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Qatar is reportedly withdrawing from its role